Afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Tom.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, thank you.
I just I have to head out a little early today. About 4:30. I have to get somewhere by 5.
We'll take a vote on that, and we'll see what the democracy will allow. How's that?
Thanks. I appreciate the flexibility.
All right. Dr. Hill won't be here today, so I'm guessing it's just a quick update meeting, and we'll reconvene at some other time. Yvette, how are you today?
Uh, I'm good. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're fine. I caught you right in between all that. Yeah. Greg,
Thank
Shauna, welcome.
you.
While we're waiting, does anyone have any good news they'd like to share? Anybody have a good day today?
I had a good day today.
Good.
Good.
No particular reason, just nothing terrible happened. So that's a good day.
That's a great day right there.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Wendy, welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Ben. Ben.
Is anyone aware of anyone that used to participate in this group that is not receiving emails or notices? Irene has done a masterful job of taking over, and bless her for doing that and sending out all the notices, but do we know of anyone that hasn't been receiving it?
Not that I know of. Are we still, although I do wonder if we're still notifying our local COC, the GKCCEH, if we're notifying Markea, or I know she's
Rachel,
still involved in some things, but
yes. That's a great question. Irene, are you on the line by chance?
I am. I'm here. I had to open
Do
up
we
and
know if Markea Watson with Greater Kansas City Coalition to End Homelessness is part of the distribution list?
I could look, but I can't tell you at this moment that I know.
Yeah.
It is a huge list. Let
Yeah.
me check. Hold on.
I think it's a great question though, since we started as a really large group and it kind of pared down. So even if we need to re-energize that group.
I agree.
Tell me the name of the person again.
Rachel.
Markea Watson. The email would be mwatson@gkcceh.
So
Uh,
while
Yes, she is on the distribution list and gets the emails. I have no bounce back from those that have bounced back, and I just didn't know how to get emails. Because they're just not, they either they're not connected to an organization or just didn't know the person. Some of those have dropped off, but overall, there's about 98 people on this list, and she is on it.
So for those that have just joined us, and Irene, thank you for that. The question was, um, that this group started off a lot larger and making sure that everyone is receiving the emails and notices. Irene, thank you for sending it out. You're doing a fantastic job. I know you're fairly busy with some other things. But thank you for taking that over. We appreciate it. But if you know of anyone that has asked you, hey, if have notice has been sent out, please let myself or Irene know, and we'll make sure they get back on the list.
Yeah, please do. But there have been very few that have been taken off. It's just, I know some people have left their job or so who I knew to change. Otherwise, if it was just a bad email, I just couldn't keep them on because otherwise my emails inflated with nothing but, really bad emails coming back.
Well, it is 4:03. Let's go ahead and get started and welcome everybody. Just to kind of start off, Commissioner Hill will not be able to join us today. She is traveling on some personal business, so we wish her well. There isn't much on the agenda today, although there's a lot going on in the community. So I noticed that Pam Smart with Mount Carmel Redevelopment Corporation joined us. We were going to ask Pam if and Ms. Penn joined us as well. We're going to ask Mount Carmel to maybe share an update with kind of what they know and what they're wanting to do regarding the Willa Gill Center. And then I think it's always a great benefit for us to go around the Zoom room here and just share any updates with our respective organizations or within the community, and then any resources that are available, any upcoming dates. I know Irene attached the PowerPoint that Dr. Hill shared last meeting. I know there was some work to be done on that, so we'll continue to work on that. I believe kind of the pressing issues that came out of that PowerPoint and a lot of the discussion were, we need to hire the consultant that KDAD is offering to help out. The things that I kind of hear from other folks is the county administrator's office is working on that, so that is great news. But Irene, I don't know if you have any other updates on Julia Orlando and the opportunity for the unified government to contract with her.
No, I do not at this time. I was hoping Alan would come down,
Okay,
because he's usually has been attending these meetings, but nothing yet.
let's maybe, does anyone else have anything to add about Julia Orlando and the opportunities for her to come on and serve as consultant for the unified government and for all the agencies?
I did think that was moving forward, but I don't know where they are at with that. Without Alan here, I do also and maybe it looks like Kay Sharp is here. She might be able to update us on that. And on their two positions that they're working with KDADs on. I know I think she just logged on and I just put her on the spot.
That's what we do best around here. I like that. We're all ready. Kay, I don't know if you have an opportunity to visit with us about that.
Alan's on his way. He should be hopping on in just a sec. But yeah, we did get confirmation that we are going to be able, that we are going to have those two positions. So we're talking through costs. They did grant us a bit of an extension on the time frame, the length of that grant. So we're very excited about that. So we're just trying to figure out payment structure or salary structure for the person. So we'll have more good news on that coming.
Okay, for the benefit of those that may not have been in the last couple of meetings, can you maybe just briefly explain what that position or those positions are intended to be and what they're for?
Yeah, it's for a homeless coordinator. That person will be kind of the liaison between the state and the unified government. And then the other person is more, if I'm remembering correctly, more of an outreach position. And we did get both of those positions. I have while we're having the meeting, I'll look through my email real quick and get you just get you an exact definition of those two positions, and then I'll just put it in the chat.
Was one of those positions a boundary spanner? Because I know
Pardon
that was one of those positions a boundary spanner, because I think that they have
Yes, that
in,
is correct.
some of the
That
other
is correct.
counties.
That will be
I always
the majority of those duties.
Okay,
I can maybe add a little to that. So one is the boundary spanner, and then the other is a homeless coordinator. So the homeless coordinator would be housed at the UG, the boundary spanner would be housed at the COC. And so that's kind of how the state has allocated those two positions.
Alan, are you able to share at all the length of those contracts? How long we would have those positions for?
Yes. So we actually asked the state to extend the homeless coordinator, I think into early 27. I think they had initially had it for like an 18-month position. Said that's not long enough. So they were willing to do that. And then the boundary spanner, they said that they had secured future funding. So it's kind of, I don't say indefinite, but they didn't put a time frame on that one. So they were confident they'd be able to continue to fund it going forward.
I'm embarrassed to ask this, but I understand the homeless coordinator. I'm not hearing the second position correctly. Could you slowly say that, please?
It's so that there's, might think of one, the homeless coordinator is really geared towards helping to design and support the implementation of an overall approach to addressing homelessness. So it's, dealing with stakeholders, is creating a strategic plan, that kind of stuff. The boundary spanner is much more focused on actually working with clients. So they would be housed within the COC, and they would be doing direct referrals, to service agencies and working to, again, help get people directly off the street and into services.
Alan, while you have your mic unmuted, could you give us an update on or any update on Julia Orlando and the opportunities for the unified government to engage with her?
I don't have a lot of update on that one particularly. I think that's part of where we're moving to. We want to get this homeless coordinator in place, because then that person would be in position to be able to work much more closely with Julia Orlando and others in the development of a strategic plan.
Is there any sense that the opportunity might pass the unified government if we wait any more length of time?
With Julia Orlando?
Correct. Yes. Yes.
I have not heard that from the state. No, I think there's a bank of hours that they have with her. And she'll be at the state homeless summit in April. So she's attending that. And so she's still in the picture.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Alan regarding those two issues, the two positions coming on board, the unified government or the potential for the consultant with the unified government?
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Sorry, I don't have my hand up. Can you tell me what department is going to be supervising the UG employee, or where they're going to fall out within organizational development? Is it going to be at the livable neighborhoods? Is it going to be under economic development? Is it going to be someone with the neighborhood policing or community policing? Where is that position going to be allocated within the org chart?
That's a good question. I don't have a final answer for you. I mean, I think, you heard from Kay Sharp, who's our interim community development director here before I jumped on and had a chance to introduce her. And so community development is a possibility. Kay's been working with the state and with our regional partners, on homelessness. So that's a possibility. Kind of given the type of position it is, which is less, I mean, it's not direct service. It is really kind of coordinating across agencies. I think that that it wouldn't necessarily be a good fit for it to be housed in community policing or in another organization that is doing sort of tactical support and engagement. So I think that's one of the things that Kay and I will be kind of looking at and figuring out where that person fits. And
Nora, you have your hand up.
I'll add just a little bit to that, which is it's come up in this group before, which the challenge is that we don't have a single point of for the unhoused, right? So it's spread across different parts of the unified government, and that's so there. It's not immediately sort of clear where you say, okay, well, certainly this. We don't have a housing department, for example, so that's part of what we'll have to figure out organizationally.
Alan, thanks for all of that. Ms. Jefferson?
Hi, thank you very much, Tom. Question I have, hopefully it's not a real stupid question, is on the housing coordinator, we talk about that first position is one that is looking at the cause for homelessness. Am I understanding that correctly? Is that right?
That could be a portion of it. So I think that it's really kind of helping. There's lots of pieces and parts to this, as this task force has identified through its work, and ranging from service providers to funding sources to causes of homelessness, and so I think it's the goal behind this position of the homeless coordinator would be to create and help drive a plan that would address from kind of end to end. So it would, I think we do need to get a better handle on what are the causes of homelessness in the community. And then how do you I think in other communities that have been successful in getting to sort of functional zero, they've been able to take slices of that population and address them for their particular needs. Veterans homelessness as a kind of the classic example. I don't know, Ms. Jefferson, if I'm making sense there.
Yeah, you are. It sounds like there's a broad, well, first of all, there's a need to go from end to end. And there's a lot of different pieces and so forth. It just hasn't been nailed down yet on what those pieces are. But I follow, I believe I follow your logic. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Haley, do you have another question?
Yeah, we do have a housing vista position within the urban planning department who is already covering a lot of this stuff. Have we compared what that vista is doing with what we're asking this new person to do as well, and seeing where those positions are overlapping at all?
I have not. That sounds like it'd be a good thing to do.
Yeah, because there's a lot of work that Dwayne has already done with regards to this investigation that we're asking these people to do. And we've identified several metrics within our recent, KCK or Plan KCK and some of our other regional and master plans. And there's some other organizations like KC Healthy Kids and stuff who's really have identified the causes of homelessness already in our community. And so I just want to make sure that with our limited funds and our limited budget, that this homeless coordinator has those resources at their disposal, and we're not hiring them to do something that other departments are already doing or other positions within the UGR, and to make sure that we have, coordinated job duties respectively between the two positions, especially since we already have a housing coordinator in planning. And so I don't know if there's a way to compare what each person is being asked to do or is currently doing with what the expected outcome needs so they can work in tandem with each other and they're not overlapping or double dipping and things like that, because we do already pay for that person within our department.
Sure, and I am familiar with the kind of the body of work that Dwayne has been involved with, and this would be, I think, additive to that, and continuing on when that position, the Fuse Fellow position, comes to an end, I think later this year. So I think there's a continuity aspect to this as well.
Yeah, I think he just got renewed for another year. So
He did.
I'll have to, yeah, I think so.
No, he did, but it's through.
I'll have to verify what that date is, but.
Right.
Yeah.
Alan, in looking at the draft scope of work, the coordinator is not actually undertaking that particular piece of the conversation in terms of the causes. So I don't think there would be overlap there. There might be some other opportunities to look at in terms of where there might be some duplication. But in looking at this draft of the scope of work, that's not specifically mentioned.
Rachel, do you have a question? Then we'll go to Myra.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to add a little bit of context to, and I went out for a second, so I apologize if I repeat anything that Alan mentioned in his response. And I think the thing that we have to also, I think very valid questions, very specific things that we should look into, especially when we think about duplication. But I also think just remembering that this is a very complex issue, and that there are many different elements to this. We not only have a housing crisis, but there are different subpopulations amongst all of the experiences of those who are experiencing homelessness. And while Dwayne may be focusing on one thing or one element of it, there is capacity needed because our community has continued to not have that capacity to look at many different factors. So we have youth homelessness, we have families who are homeless, we have individuals who are stacked up. And so there is a long spectrum and continuum of homelessness that has for a very long time gone unaddressed in our community. And so while there may seem to or appear to be duplication of services, there is also an education and an acknowledgement moment in time. And I think that's where we are now, where we do have these many different strategies going on. We somehow have to figure out how to bring all of those together and then address how the system long-term sustainability, because as mentioned, Dwayne's position is funded by Health Forward Foundation. This is funded by KDADS. And so that is not a sustainable option for our local government. So we have to figure out how we build in the budget, how we do all of these things while also figuring out how to address these issues. And so I just wanted to share that from my perspective, that there are a lot of moving pieces, but there are also a lot of folks doing different things. And so based on however they can show up to the table or their own professionals. So that was all I wanted to add to the conversation is, yes, there are lots of conversations, but also lots of needs in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Myra?
Yeah, I just want to piggyback off what Rachel said. So I was one of the quarantine housing coordinators a couple of years ago, I think 2 years ago almost. And so I know that for my position, you know, the plan was for me to be more of a planner and kind of last minute response. But once you get into the position, you end up being the first person contact for a lot of these individuals. And also for a lot of these families where it's pre-unhoused, you know, scenario where they know that they're going to be evicted in a week or two, and then trying to get some of those like in between organizations involved so that they don't become unhoused. So yeah, Rachel hit it spot on, I think, as far as, not being so shy with the budget if it's there, because unfortunately we know that it's just going to go up. We haven't gotten any resolution, at least since I was coordinator, but I'm really excited that there's funds being allocated, and hopefully the position could eventually move to be more preventive than responsive to the need.
All great points. Thank you, everybody. Any other further discussion? Because the more we're talking about this, the more we're having greater insight into what each organization, what each department within the unified government is doing, and how they're doing it, and their focus. And I feel comfortable and confident that we're approaching a solution of some sort. I don't know what that solution is. You all are much smarter than I, but we're going to get there, folks, and it's going to take all of us. Anything else? We've got the experts in the room. Anybody have any questions?
Tom, I might just add, and I'll have to drop here in a minute, but just to let this group know too, that there's a conversation that's happening with Mark as kind of the convener of that with some of the other jurisdictions, and really kind of focusing in on data sharing and how we can do I say a better job, but what are the opportunities for data sharing that would, I think, give us greater insight into some of the things that we've been talking about on this call, even, which is, what are the, not to say causes, but, where do people show up in different areas in the region? There's a lot of opportunity, I think, around this data sharing idea. So just for this group's awareness that we're kind of digging into that a little more to see what opportunities can exist, and then what are the perhaps barriers that we need to overcome legally, et cetera, technology in order to be able to do that better.
That's exciting news. Hillcrest has been around since '76, and if you were to ask me, we'll share some data from 20 years ago. I don't think we can. Just it wasn't that, and it's shame on us, it wasn't that important. But let's track our clients. Let's track I'm talking just internally. What is those stumbling blocks as you're entering our program? What are those stumbling blocks as you're exiting those programs in 5 years from now? And so that data will tell us just wonderful stories, and I think it'll better direct our resources for all those improvements. Is Pam Smart still on? Pam, I'm texted you earlier today, and I don't know if you're kind of ready to maybe share a few things, or if you want to wait till next month. I'll leave that up to you.
I think
Andra?
this is Andra. Pam is having some difficulty technically. She's on the Zoom. However, we have been meeting, and Pam has developed an executive summary regarding what we'd like as part of the proposal for the relocation of the Willer-Gill Center. And that document is practically, I think she's almost finished with it today. So that will be coming to you pretty quick, right? The other thing that we can share is definitely, and for those that are on the Zoom that may not be aware, the Kansas City, Kansas Community College has begun the demolition, and it's very noisy, and the building is shaking a time or two while they're demolishing some of the buildings adjacent to the alley. We're continuing to do the work. As you know, Mount Carmel's managed the Willer-Gill Center. Some of you probably know it since November 1st of 2002. And so that's going on our 22nd year. And prior, the first 5 years was managed by Catholic Charities, my former employer. So we're very positive and looking forward to knowing where the Willer-Gill Center will relocate to. The last meeting we had with the mayor Garner, his preference is that this center be relocated within a 1 mile radius, as opposed to previous discussions and consideration being given to some other locations like 37th in Minnesota and further west.
Irene or Alan, or anything from the unified government's perspective on the relocation of the Willa Gill Center? Any updates?
No, just that I think Andrea mentioned it. I think the idea is that we would like to make sure that there is most definitely a voice with Willa Gill and recommendations coming back to this committee. But I think the instruction from the mayor is we'd like for Willa Gill to lead with the input of those in the community in this group to be able to help the unified government make the best decisions in making it work for the move in particular. Is that correct?
Can
Would you
I-
say that, Andra?
While she's coming off mute, I just want to clarify that
Yes.
you're saying that we're now saying Willa Gill can stay in downtown, because I thought at another meeting, the mayor said it had to depart from downtown because of development.
I'm gonna let Andra.
I don't know that I said anything about downtown. I'm just saying wherever it lands, it will be very much guided by Willa Gill and what is available. But
What was shared?
Oh, I thought I heard something
Can you
about
hear
1
me?
mile.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
What can you hear?
Ms. Penn,
Can you
go
hear
ahead.
Andra? What
Yes.
was said is the mayor specifically said he'd like to see the Willa Gill Center relocated within a 1 mile radius of downtown.
Oh, okay. See, Rachel, you did hear well.
I just want to make sure. I didn't heard multiple things be said, so
No, I
I'm
know.
making sure.
I hear you. Same here. I've heard it all.
Mhm.
Thanks, Andra, for
Sure,
for
you're welcome.
confirming that.
Okay.
So, Myra, before I call on you, I think what I'm hearing and kind of what the direction Dr. Hill, Commissioner Hill and I have been kind of told is Mount Carmel is developing a plan of their recommendation that will be presented to this body, and from this body will be presented to Mayor Gardner and the 9th floor for consideration. Is that somewhat correct?
Yes, Tom, that's correct.
Myra, you had your hand up?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Lawley. So moving back to the data sharing that we were just talking about before, do we have any partnerships with like KCMO or any of the other kind of regional areas that are addressing kind of some of these issues, just to kind of have like a touch base every couple of months, or, you know, strategic, what are you doing on your side and how does that relate to us?
The two Rachels, you want to maybe take that with the COC and some of those data sharing
I'm sorry,
databases?
I've been out of the loop, so sorry, I'm asking such
Yeah.
elementary questions.
Oh, you're fine. It's great.
I wonder, did Rob, if you're still on the call, I don't know if you have anything to add about data sharing. I know that our COC, which is a metro-wide continuum of care with Kansas City, Missouri, Jackson County, Wyandotte County, is working with the Kansas Statewide Homeless Coalition and with the UG on data sharing, and just I know they have some regular meetings to talk about what's going on in our COC, what housing looks like on both sides of the state. But we don't have a specific system that all shares data together, which I think Rob is on a committee that has been talking about that in the state. But I do know that there are some regular meetings between the balance of state and the statewide homeless coalition, the UG and our COC. Again, I step in and put other people on the spot, so.
Thank you, Rachel. That helps.
I'll just mention, you know, the Hillcrest territory is fairly large metropolitan area. We actually deal or interact with 4 different continuums of care, and none of those 4 have the same system for data sharing. So I think if Mid-America Regional Council, Mark, can help step in and help with that, that would be wonderful. Rob, I know you're incredibly active with Greater Kansas City Coalition to End Homelessness, COC. So if anything from there, let us know, please.
I think Rachel did a good job summing it up.
Okay, thank you. Kaylee, do you have your hand up?
Yeah, this is a little bit off topic here, but it is probably one of the best places to get some of these other people that I have in the room with me. As far as data sharing goes, Rachel or someone else here, do we have any really good information or explanatory sheets about how LIHTC housing works and those kind of programs that I could help disperse out? There's kind of some circulation and some talk about how LIHTC housing is going to be not allowed in the UG and anymore, and that would be really detrimental to what we're trying to accomplish here. And I think a lot of that is just because there's a misunderstanding about how LIHTC housing works and the term low income versus workforce and what those numbers actually are. And you know, and some of that goes back to some old tropes and stereotypes and things like that that really aren't relevant anymore, or that are still persistent that we're trying to eradicate. And I would really, if anybody has any really good something already prepared that we could help share to educate some people, I would really appreciate that, because as we start getting these projects coming through, it's going to really hinder us if we don't have, it's great if we have a coordinator, but if we don't have houses for them or places for them to go, it means nothing, right? And so some of these projects and stuff that are coming up for development, whether it's through Wyandotte Behavioral or other private businesses, are going to be facing obstacles. I think about that because there's that misunderstanding. So if anybody has any really great educational products that or, you know, a spreadsheet, a one-liner, a PowerPoint, something that kind of shows some recent figures, because about 60% of our UG staff and about 65% of our county qualifies for these types of housing. And so I think it's just above a lot of people's heads. And if we had a way of breaking it down, I think it would be a lot easier to understand. Yeah. Oh, I see Tom putting in some links in the.
Well, that's a resource. I think there's a lot of developers out in the community that know LIHTC and all those other fancy financing mechanisms a heck of a lot better and can explain it a lot better. But,
yeah, and we work with we're working with a few developers, and I know a few developers that have some really good just one sheet informational packets or informational documents that are one sheet and are like infographics that are helpful. And Rob put Heather in there. Vecino Group is one of the developers that we work with. Kelly Krabby is another one who's working on these Y lofts down the street.
Mm-hmm.
So I think both of them have some information that we can get shared out to you.
Yeah, that would be great. And I have Kelly's email, so you know, and I didn't even think to ask Kelly about that, but
yeah, he has lots of resources, and he can shoot them over to you really quickly.
Yeah, because I think we need to kind of work better within some of our UG staff members to have them understand what low income is versus what the data, because I know that that's the title, and we have to legally call it low income housing tax, but it really covers people up to $58,000 in our county, and that's pretty much everybody on this call probably, you know, or pretty much close to it. And so I want to kind of work on some educational outreach on that with some of our other staff. So I really appreciate that info, Rachel and Tom. Thank you.
let's kind of come back and, we were talking about Willa Gill Center. Any questions of Ms. Penn? If Pam has solved her technology problems? Anything for them, anything about the Willa Gill Center and next steps? Andra, is there anything that, as of today and tomorrow, kind of that immediacy, is there anything that folks on this call can help you and those being served at the Willa Gill Center?
Well, we're continuing to do the work. And we're not sidetracked by the demolition, except the food kitchen folks. They had to make some adjustments to get into the building one morning because the Nebraska entrance from Nebraska Avenue into the parking lot, we can get in, but as you go to the alley, they've got that fence blocked off completely. So some of the people just weren't aware, but right now, you know, we're still looking for a location. Anyone have any ideas? Suggestions?
Any other, so part of some of the recommendations that have been brought forth and we have discussed within this body has been the landlord remediation fund. Do we have any idea where that stands right now? I know Rachel and some other folks were working very hard on that. We did present that formally to the mayor. Irene, I don't know if you have any updates on kind of the status of that project.
Tom, say that again. Which project?
And Rachel Russell, if you could help me with the name, is it the landlord remediation fund,
Oh,
risk remediation fund?
risk remediation. Yeah, that would be if Rachel.
Yes, I'm sorry. And I thought the other Rachel was here, so I thought she was about to start talking. I'm sorry. Yes, so the KCK Housing Authority and Kim Wilson and Cross Lines are working through the MOU and the next steps in like the implementation of that fund. As I may have mentioned in this group or not, we will have some information available on the Housing Authority website. So I'll make sure by the next meeting to have that. And then for folks who want to understand or figure out how to access the fund, I'll also make sure that I have that information available. A better update at the next meeting. I apologize.
That is wonderful news. Thank you for that report. I believe that was all on the agenda. This is always an opportunity because we have such great community partners on this call. I like to provide everyone an opportunity to share any resources they might have, any upcoming events they might have, or just any announcements within their respective organizations, communities, neighborhoods, etc. Anybody have wonderful, exciting news? Anyone have any excess resources? Anyone need anything? I will start then, if that's okay. Hillcrest has several positions open, especially for our Kansas City, Kansas campus. I will put the website or the careers website address in the chat, or just give me a call, shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to send that as well. But I'll get that while someone else goes next.
Yeah, this is Rachel again. I will just say we are still the CHIP Safe and Affordable Housing Action theme lead agency for the 24-28 CHIP. I will drop the link in the chat box here, but if you are interested in engaging in one of our subcommittees or just would like to be added to the housing action team bi-monthly meetings, feel free to reach out to me or complete the survey form that I'm going to drop in the link. We'd love to have folks involved. Also, thinking of overage of things, if you really love Celsius, Icy, or Waterloo, we did a favor for Amazon and we have you covered. So reach out. I'll also drop my email. And when I say we have you covered, I literally mean we have 26 pallets of drinks in our warehouse. And so trying to get those off. So if you, again, those options are Celsius, Icy, Waterloo. There is some like Liquid Death. There's some other interesting brands like Bubbler, but those are the ones we have big pallets of. And so feel free to reach out to me if you have a need for drinks or want some more liquid energy. So thank you.
Rachel, that Liquid Death that's gold on the teenage market.
It's also gold in my office too. I love me some Liquid Death. Talk about powerful marketing,
Absolutely.
Sounds like a burgeoning social enterprise venture there. Rob, if you're still available, can you give us a report on the cold weather shelter?
Yeah, we've had an abnormally warm February and the latter part of January. So we were open for a long stretch there in January. And then we were open one day recently within the last 2 weeks, which is very strange. Usually we're open much more than that. But over those 14 nights, we've served about 145 unique individuals. And the good thing is we've been able to connect several of those people to supportive services as well as permanent housing. So that's been a big win for the shelter. Even though we haven't been open much, we've been able to connect people to permanent housing, which is the real goal.
Rob, I'm embarrassed to ask this question, but given that cold spell that we all experienced, what the heck would have happened if you all and those involved with the cold weather shelter, what would have happened if it wasn't there?
We would have seen more cold weather injury and death. And we already, even though we were open, we have one individual who lost both of their feet during that big stretch. We have another person that died, we think, probably during that big stretch. So when we talk about the need for extreme weather sheltering, it is a matter of life and death.
Thank you all for coordinating that. Thanks for everyone that's out there. Any other announcements? Yeah, please.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say thank you guys for still keeping this going. Like I've been out of the loop since my kid died, and it's been really heartwarming to like come back and see you guys like really still in the game and like doing the work, and having my clients reach out and tell me how great the cold shelter has been for them. They're really stubborn and they still just show up because they're just stubborn. But it's just been really nice to know that like I can trust my community to do its job. So thank you guys.
Irene, any last words from City Hall?
No, I do have at least 3 people that are in the room. They just did not want to be in front of the camera. So they have been attentive and listening as well. But on our part, no, thank you all. I agree. Everything that was previously said, Myra, we appreciate you hanging in, and we know there's some big bets we have to take a look at. If you definitely get a chance, review that PowerPoint from last month, because there are some things, at least we heard today, that are moving, but in all respect, there's so much to be done in this area, as was discussed. So thank you all. Oh,
Okay, I see you have your
Hey.
hand up.
yeah.
Yeah, Tom, if I could just, I need to make an appeal on behalf of the Community Development Department. We are in desperate need of a program coordinator in community development to manage our home program. We've had someone in our office doing double duty with the program and on the fiscal side for, well, this week is a year that they've been doing that. So we really do need to get someone who has grant experience in to manage our home program. So if you know of anyone who is qualified to do that and would have an interest in being in the UG, if you could send them to the UG jobs website, I would very much appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, be safe out there. You're all doing fantastic work. Thank you for being a part of this task force, and we will. Before I forget, is there a preference on meeting virtually or in person? Would everyone like to continue to meet virtually? You could kind
Let
of
me
nod your
just throw
head or-
this out though, Tom. Because we have to publish it as a public meeting, we have to have a space. So in other words, I have to have the space open and access for you to have a meeting. The link was for those unavailable for in-person. So
Okay.
regardless of how you meet, just know we have to have an in-person space.
Understood. But thank you for that clarification.
I would like to continue to meet virtually as I am post-knee surgery and currently in a wheelchair. And making it to the 5th floor is not the easiest thing right now.
Certainly wish you speedy recovery. So we'll continue hybrid opportunities and third Monday of every month. So obviously we had to push it back because of President's Day holiday, but in March, that should be, I'm looking at my calendar real quick, the 18th of March. Everyone be safe. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, you all as well.
Thank you, Mr. Holly.
Thank you.